Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, from wherever you have joined across the world. A very warm welcome to each one of you who has joined this webinar. So the today's webinar is about how we can modernize Power using Power Platform and Copilot. What are the capabilities within the Power Platform, the AI capabilities of the Power Platform, which can be leveraged to modernize your legacy applications. So with that, I will start the webinar. So there are a few housekeeping items which I just want to let you know. We will be recording the session and we will be sharing the recording after the session. There is a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, but if you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to put it in a chat window and then we'll be answering those questions as well. All right, so my name is Rishi, and I am working as a senior solution architect at Yash, leading the Microsoft practice, specifically on the application development on Azure as well as the Power Platform. With me, I have my colleague Nikhil, who is also working as a senior solution architect on the Power Platform side. And we also have a privilege to have Ricardo Maya from Microsoft, who will be sharing his insights on the capabilities of the Power Platform. So coming to the agenda, so we'll give you the brief introduction of what we do at Yash, what is all about, and then we'll talk about some of the challenges with the modernization, how Power Platform can help with to overcome those challenges. Then we'll also talk about the AI capabilities within Power Platform, like Copilot as well as the Plan Designer. Then there will be a slide on the modernization strategies. What are the different strategies we can use to modernize your applications? We'll talk about the framework which we have built uh, using our in experience with the industry, the modernization framework. And in the end, there'll be a demo on Plan Designer as well as one of the use cases which we have worked for our customer on the NDA document generation using Power Apps as well as the Copilot Studio and Copilot Agent. So this is the overall overview of the Yash. So we are a 3-decade-old company, mid-size company having 9,000 plus employees. We have global delivery centers across 44 of them across the globe. We are also, apart from Microsoft, we also do a lot of other services like SAP, Salesforce, and we are top 20 SAP S/4HANA service providers. And we have been employer of the choice for past 11 years. And we have a very good long-standing engagement with our different customers. If you see the bottom, we have customers like John Deere, Caterpillar, Schlumberger. So we have been working with them like more than 15 to 20 years now, and we are delivering the services to them. This is on the Microsoft side, what we do as part of our Microsoft practice. We have around 1,300 plus consultants within our Microsoft practice. We have delivered large-scale transformations to cloud, be it infrastructure modernization or application modernization. We also have built around 120 plus accelerators in-house, spanning across different technologies, be it Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Platform, Azure, AI. So those accelerators are in-house developed. We are Microsoft managed partner. We do have access to the funding programs from the Microsoft. We are also the Microsoft Cloud Solution Provider and the authorized reseller of the licenses. We are globally available and most of our workforce is based out of India, but we do have offices in US, Europe, Middle East, and EMEA region. Within our Microsoft practice, we take care of the modernization of infrastructures. Modern workplace is an area wherein we take care of the Teams or M365 workloads within the digital app innovation, anything related to the Azure application development or Power Platform or Power Apps, Power Automate. The business application is another area where we have a dedicated practice. We do a lot of rollouts, implementations on the Dynamics 365. And then we also have the dedicated practice for the Azure data and AI, wherein we help with with the organizations to implement Fabric and help them to uh, implement the AI use cases as well. We support a lot of other industry verticals like life sciences and healthcare, chemical industries, energy and utilities, manufacturing, pharmaceutical, BFSI, and retail. We do a lot of advisory and consulting, DevOps, quality testing, migration and upgrades, and support and maintenance. We are, as I said, we are Microsoft managed partners. We have solution partner designation with different areas like digital app innovation, infrastructure, business application, security, data, and AI. Um, Ravi, do you want to put up the poll?
Edit.
Okay. So everyone is talking about modernization, and this was one of the things which we are hearing from our customers also, right? And there was a survey which was done by Gartner back in 2024, which suggests that around 46% of organizations will be increasing their spend on application modernization, which means that there is a need for modernization. There is a necessity wherein we still have applications which are running on the legacy workloads. It could be your mainframe applications, it could be your applications running on Lotus nodes, or it could be an application which is running on any other legacy platform, legacy.net. So these applications needs to be migrated and modernized, and we'll talk about what are the risks associated with those in our upcoming slides as well. And now how Power Platform, which is a low code, no code platform, how it can accelerate your development. So there was another survey done by Gartner, the low code, no code can accelerate your delivery time by 50%, and as compared to the traditional build. So all in all, if you see that the modernization is a necessity, it's not a optional thing, it's more of a strategic priority, which organization needs to think about how we can migrate and modernize their legacy workloads. And Power Platform is one area which can speed up your migration and modernization process. Now, if you talk about the risks, what are the risks? So these applications has been built for past 15, 20 years, right? And they are running fine. But what are the risks associated with it? So security is one of the major concerns which we have found out that we see with our different customers. So in fact, when I was talking to one of the customer, they had one application which was built on legacy.net framework. When they did a security scan, they found that there were vulnerabilities within the applications, and they had to mitigate the risk. So fast we can act, that is a question. Similarly, these applications, they are very highly they have very high maintenance cost, right? So the cost for managing these application or maintaining this application is very high. Also, it becomes very difficult to cater the business needs because we have very limited flexibility for introducing new functionalities or new capabilities within the applications. And that is where it slows down the innovation, because given that since these applications are built maybe a decade ago, it is built on a older platform. Now with changing in technology, changing in day to day, we have newer technologies, AI coming into the place, right? The innovation slows down. The other thing is on the technical debt, right? When we talk about technical debt, more of, let's say if I have an application which is built on mainframe, I might not be able to find sufficient resource on that technology. So we are increasing the technical debt, and these applications also runs on independently, wherein it becomes very difficult to integrate these applications with newer systems or SaaS based applications. Scalability and performance is another area where we have seen challenges. And lastly is more on the AI capabilities, if you want to have AI infused within your application, it becomes very difficult to embed AI within these legacy applications. And as per the Gartner, by 2027, if we delay the modernization projects, then there will be critical disruptions and because of the obsolete technology. So that's one of the area I think organizations should think about how we can start moving their workloads to a newer platform, to cloud, to our technology, which is future ready. Now, we know the risks, right? But what are the challenges? So why we are not able to migrate or modernize these applications? One of the biggest concern or one of the biggest challenges is the opportunity cost, right? We know that these applications are built within like 10, 15 years, right? There are a lot of work has been done on this. Now, if you try to migrate or modernize this application, there will be a very high cost involved in it, right? And it becomes very difficult to justify that cost to the business. Business will say, okay, if I am fine running this application, there is no issue, right? But they won't understand the technical glitches. They won't understand the security concerns. They won't understand the compliance issues which your application might have. So it becomes very difficult to justify the ROI for these applications. And some we have also seen that these applications are built um, again for many years. People tend to forget to create documentation. So there is a lack of documentation, and with that lack of documentation, it becomes very difficult or challenging to think about migrations. And that is one of the concerns which we have seen within our customers also. And then lastly, on the legacy system complexity. In fact, I was talking to one of the customer yesterday itself. So they built an application which is built on legacy .NET framework, and it's like an ERP system. It takes care of all the customers, all the orders, all the materials. Everything is built custom, and it's this application has grown so big. Now, if they think about the modernization of this application, it becomes a challenge. Where do we start? How do we start? Whether we will be able to achieve all the functionalities of this application in a newer platform, that becomes a challenge. So those are some of the challenges which we have seen with modernization of the application, and how Power Platform can help in this area, right? So now, if you have a portfolio of applications, some of the applications might remain on-premise. Some of them might be retired. Maybe we might need to archive them. We no longer use them, just keep them for the archival purpose, right? Some of them may be rehosted into just a lift and shift. The major areas where we can leverage Power Platform or accelerate our development through Power Platform is three R's, which is refactor, rebuild, and replace. And we have seen that around 60%, 50 to 60% of the application will fall into these categories. Either we have to optimize them or rebuild them in conjunction with your Azure workloads. Maybe some of the components will go to the Azure, your UI component will stay in Power Apps, your workflow engine will be leveraged as Power Automate, and then we can build some agents on top of those using Copilot Studio. So all in all, if you see the refactor, rebuild, and replace, that is where we can leverage Power Platform, and we'll talk about how we can accelerate the development process using Copilot, using Plan Designer, how it can help you to create these applications in very less time. So if you think about the traditional approach, right? If I want to build an application, a custom application development, it will take 12 to 24 months. And I have to have a very huge budget for migrating or creating those applications. Sometimes there will be like, let's say, a fit gap analysis, right? I might not be able to justify the customization cost. And that's where the traditional approaches fail. Where Power Platform shines, right? It's a low code, no code platform. You don't need a dedicated team of developers. You can have citizen development COE built within your organization who can train your citizen developers to create this application. You can start creating proof of concepts with Power Apps. And anyway, like if you have your E3 license within your organization, you are already having the capability to create these Power Apps using this either SharePoint as a backend or a Dataverse or any other data source. And you probably don't need a professional development or developer for this application development. And Power Platform, it's not just a UI component, right? It's more than that. You have five different pillars. You have Power Apps where you can create or build applications, beautiful applications on that. You have Power Automate, which is a workflow engine. You can automate any business process. Then you have a Power Pages, which is leveraged to create externally facing websites. So if you want to expose your application to the external user, to your vendors, you can make use of Power Pages. You don't need to have a server where you need to spin up a web app and then deploy it and then do a lot of coding. So Power Pages will give you a flexibility to quickly create externally facing websites. Similarly, on the Power BI side, all the analytics, if you want to see, Power BI is a solution for that. And now we have the Copilot Studio, wherein you can build agents within the Copilot Studio, which is again a low code, no code platform to start creating agents and then start integrating those agents with your applications or with your AI workloads. And if you think about the what is a differentiator, right? As I said, right, citizen development is one of the biggest differentiator wherein you can train people within your organization to start working on the Power App, start automating some of the manual tasks, manual workflows, wherein your total time for the development reduces and you can achieve more in less time. And that's where you can start small, start creating prototypes. Once the prototype is ready, you can showcase that, and then you can start building those capabilities on top of it, and also leveraging Copilot and AI capabilities, embedding those Copilot Studio agents within your Power Platform that can help you to accelerate your development and migration as well. With that, I will hand it over to Ricardo. So, Ricardo, over to you.
Thank you, Rishi. So let me start by thanking Josh and the team for having me today. As Rishi was saying, I'm going to talk about a little bit how Power Platform can help. So to frame the floor here for all of us, one of the key things, and you have seen probably and hearing a lot about AI, generative AI, which means the more application modernization is also changing and is meeting uh, with AI and with generative AI. And what that brings us is how can we leverage the power of AI and the power of generative AI when we are doing application modernization, right? And not only from the modernization kind of point of view, but also producing those new versions or enhanced versions of those applications being more modernized with AI and with generative AI. And of course, we have with this accelerated at the new scale laws, we are talking about of how can we improve the time to market, meaning how do we take one of those apps and then the fastest way that we can get to replace, refactor, rebuild those applications in modern stacks or technology stacks. The same from a time to value kind of point of view. How do we get the most value out of that application modernization when we are introducing these kind of stacks as well? And last but not least is, of course, these solutions and these some sort of platforms like Power Platform. It's not only for application modernization, but also to help you reduce any backlog that you have where you don't have any existing applications or you have some sort of isolated, I would say, apps. Let's say you use Excel for something. Let's say you use paper or you use something, and then how can you can bring also the power of AI and the generative AI not only for modernizing but also to create new apps with this agile kind of approach. So I'm not going to drain this slide, but pretty quick. Whatever we are talking about in the Microsoft Power Platform is pretty aligned and integrated with what we have in our productivity and collaboration space, plus our business and processes space. And Richie was showing and explaining to you all how Yash is equipped to cover and help you in any one of these three big buckets, what I would call them. And of course, all of this is supported in all the pieces and the capabilities and the benefits that we have in our public cloud, which is, of course, Microsoft Azure. And then you can see right in the center of all this combination within our public cloud and our model of impact, that Copilot, which is leveraging AI and generative AI to make it, of course, and get the best out of it for all of us. So moving, this is kind of the high level of what we have in the Power Platform. I know Rishi in the previous slide explained a little bit at a very high level some of these components. But basically, from a comprehensive point of view, is that you have a set of capabilities in the low code and no code space to help you bring that agility in the app modernization and creating new apps or creating new solution. I don't like to call them apps anymore because this is not a single app. It's really a solution. And that solution is as comprehensive as it can get. You can use our Power Apps Studio in this case to actually create either web or mobile applications. We have two types of applications there. Basically, those that are driven by the user experience, that we call them Canvas apps, and those that are driven by the data, which is what we call model-driven apps, right? So that's some sort of the capabilities that you will see there. And in every piece that I'm going to talk today, specifically in these slides and the other ones, we are infusing AI and we are infusing generative AI, and you're going to see a little bit of that in the demo that the Yash team has prepared for us today. As Richie mentioned as well, we have Power Automate as our capability in the Power Platform to help you automate business processes, right? So you can do what we used to call robotic process automation, digital process automation, intelligent process automation. So there is a way here that you can use this technology to infuse automation and process automation, hyper automation into your business. Let me jump into Power Pages. I'm going to leave Copilot Studio at the end, but Power Pages, as Rishi mentioned, is okay. Do we want to expose all the beauty of these low code, no code capabilities that we are creating in the platform? But in this case, it's not for internal employees. In these cases, we want to expose that to, let's say, the public, right? And meaning the public, it could be customers, it could be providers, it could be BPOs, it could be whatever you have. That's the way that you are going to be able to expose some sort of what I would call power apps into the external world, right? Power BI, probably I don't need to explain. It's been there forever. It's been changing probably families within Microsoft, first on the Office side, then on the Modern Work side, then on the Power Platform side. Now it's all over the place, but basically is that low code, no code capability for data analytics and data processing and reporting as well. And before I go and move into Copilot Studio, even though Power Apps, Power Automate, Copilot Studio, Power Pages, and Power BI are the main components of our platform, we have some components which work behind the scenes, right? That actually bring us the whole power on how this platform works with the rest of the world and infuse some sort of capabilities, right? So let me start with the data connectors. Data connectors is the way that we connect the Power Platform solutions with the rest of the world. Think of it as our integration way to connect to anything that is out there, starting with whatever we have in Microsoft Stack, but this is not kind of limited to that. There are, I would say, connectors that you can connect to a SAP instance. You can connect to Oracle database, to ServiceNow, to Salesforce.com, to DocuSign, you name it. And if you don't have a connector in our library that you want to connect to a, let's say, an internal developed legacy application, you can create your very own, which we call actually custom connectors, right? If that capacity is kind of a modern way of integration, you create a custom connector to integrate back to those legacy applications. But guess what? If you cannot connect to those applications through an API or through a web service, then we can go back to RPA. We can go back to web automation or desktop automation to actually do that integration and implement that integration and make that real, right? AI Builder is some sort of the way that we infuse AI in the low code. So basically what we have here is a bunch of models that can help you bring AI into your Power Apps, into your Power Automate, into Copilot Studio, into Power Pages as well. So, and let me finish with the Microsoft Dataverse. And I'm going to extrapolate the explanation of this to the rest of the components here, which is most of what we as Microsoft expose in the Power Platform, which is low code or no code, is an abstraction of something that we already have in the Azure stack, right? And the Dataverse probably is going to be the best example. If you are users of Azure already and you have been using Azure SQL, Blob Storage, Cosmos DB, Azure Search, and so on, that's what Microsoft Dataverse is. It's a composition of 5 of the most relevant storage capabilities that we have in the Azure world, combine them, and then expose them in the low code, no code space through an API. So that's why we call it an enterprise data service rather than a database, because you have multiple services there. It's not only for the storage, you have a whole bunch of capabilities as well here. And then Power Effects, think of it of the low code piece of the Power Platform, where you can in some sort of the mode of Excel formulas, you can just drive the behavior of your app, of your Power Automate, of your Power Pages, of your AI Builder, even with the data connectors as well. And let me finish with the Copilot Studio. Why I left it at the end, and again, last but not least, is because we are now in the business of copilots. We are now in the business of agents and infusing AI as Microsoft across the board in our stack. So that's where Copilot Studio comes in, which is our low-code solution, no-code solution for agents and copilots. This is the way that you use, or this is the capability that you use to create copilots and agents in the low-code, no-code space. But again, it doesn't stop there, right? It brings the best of Azure. It is not only Copilot Studio, but the whole platform, but that's very specific. You can publish that in a website. You can publish that into Teams. You can publish that in an M365 Copilot kind of experience, or you can publish your agents into a Copilot free chat experience as well. So that's kind of a high-level overview of what we have in the Power Platform. So considering that, here is a bunch of how do we see Power Platform helping businesses through going to that journey and bringing that agility of leveraging the technology as much and as fast as they can. So you can see in the top left the app modernization, which is what brings us here for this webinar. But there are a whole lot of scenarios where you can use and you can leverage the benefit and the beauty of the Power Platform or the low code, no code experience. You can see there extending LOB systems. Here is a kind of concept that we use that we call surround. So if you want to extend your Salesforce.com, if you want to extend Dynamics, if you are a Dynamics 365 users, if you want to extend a core banking system, if you want to extend a manufacturing system, if you want to extend whatever you want to extend, you can use Power Platform as a surrounding platform to help you extend those LOB systems, right? Of course, this is been there for a while already. We used to call these fusion teams where the professional developers meet the low code. So meaning that this even we started as a citizen developer kind of platform. We are seeing a very heavy usage of professional developers leveraging the capabilities of the Power Platform while keeping I would say, the ability to drive pro code development to enhance the outcome of those solutions that are being created or those applications that are being modernized or created. Of course, you can use that to enhance employee experience, empower departments, and here is where we have that business developer or that business maker kind of a scenario. Plus, the hyper automation that we mentioned, Richie and I just mentioned a few slides ago. So again, very, very specific and very high opportunities for Power Platform to help you on that journey. Should we go next? Okay. Oh, are we?
Okay.
I think we need move back probably. Let me see. Did we?
1 second. Sorry, this is it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm moving them. So this is the next one. So,
Yeah.
as I mentioned, I mean, we are in the AI business already. You, our partners, and us as Microsoft. I mean, if there are customers here, of course, we are all in that business now. So what we have been doing at this point in time is how do we bring AI into um, the Power Platform and the low code experience. As we are going to share the deck, you can just click on any one of these. But basically, we have copilots in most of the components at Power Platform level, at Power Apps level, at Power Automate level, and Copilot Studio. And what that means is that you can use natural language, like when you are interacting with a conversational chatbot, and ask them to create an app for you, and ask them to create an automation for you in Power Automate, or ask them to create an agent or a copilot in Copilot Studio, and even beyond. And you're going to see a demo of that later on, which is how all these pieces come together to create a more comprehensive solution here, which is, can I just ask in natural language Power Platform to create me a solution for certain use case or certain business scenario that you have, and it will get you the apps that you need, the Power Automates that you need, the agents that you need, the tables and the components in the Dataverse that you need, and create a whole solution. We call that Plan Designer. So moving forward and giving you a sneak peek or pretty quick on how those copilots look like, you can see the Power Apps one, which is basically track customer orders and feedback. And then the Power Apps AI or generative AI will process that and will give you how that app would look like, right? And I know the Yash team is going to demo that for you in a minute as well. But it's just to give you a glimpse on, this is no longer something where you need some sort of technical skills. This is no longer something that you need even a little bit of code. It is just, can you describe what you need? And then based on that, the Power Apps Copilot, and then on the next, the Power Automate Copilot will create the apps, the automations, the business process automations that you need to support that business scenario. One caveat though, which is, and you have seen probably this anytime that you are using AI, which is whatever AI is producing, make sure that you review that before you go on, right? For accuracy, for hallucination, and some other components that you have. So I'm not saying here that when you use the AI and the generative AI within the components of the Power Platform, you're gonna get a ready-to-use app. That's not going to happen, at least for now. However, you are going to have 90% of that app or that solution spin up, and then you can just do the last mile, that 10%, to make sure that you test it, to make sure that you adjust it, and it's ready really for that business scenario or that use case that you are trying to resolve. And again, from a app modernization and from any new apps that you want to create, that will be there. Then Microsoft Copilot Studio, you heard this is the home for copilots and this is the home for agents, at least in the low code and no code space. Stay tuned for the announcements that we are going to bring in Ignite next week. But basically, this also has a Copilot within Copilot Studio, where you can, in natural language again, describe what kind of agent, what kind of copilot are you trying to have, and then it will create and spin up the basics and the foundation for that agent, so you can work it on and then finish it and then publish it and release it to users accordingly. The same in the Power Pages side. Basically, again, is a copilot where you can describe what kind of page, what kind of site are you trying to spin up. Is this a customer service kind of side? Is this a provider side? Is this a sourcing side? Is this a seller side? Is this a reseller? Whatever it is, you describe it again in natural language, and it will spin up that side, and not only the side, but also the pages behind that side as well. But again, it's how do we interact with technology? You may be seeing probably later on how all these pieces, not only in the Power Platform, but across Microsoft, will become agentic. Probably you heard a couple of weeks ago where we have the agent mode on Excel, and that's how exactly we are bringing the whole capabilities of Excel into an agent mode, so you can basically interact with Excel in natural language and have Excel do the best of what Excel does. And the same is going to happen with the rest of our platform and the products here as well. This is my last slide, which basically we have described probably very tactical, in a very tactical way, which are the components, how those components can help you in your modernization journey. But it doesn't stop there, right? So what I mean by that is that the Power Platform is not only just the pieces, is the better together story across all those components, but how do also we bring the best of Azure, right? Which is, if you think about the Power Platform, and then you have the security piece, the compliance piece, the governance, which is the management, monitoring, observability, and administration here. We are leveraging all the capabilities that we have in the Azure side. Let's talk about Purview. Let's talk about the data loss prevention policies. Let's talk about single sign-on with Microsoft Entra ID for users, external or internal. And then we are using all the compliance pieces that we have also in the Azure world to bring that capability into the management, and how do we bring all those solutions into a compliance mode, plus the governance pieces into that, that again are basically supported mainly in what we have in the Azure world as well. So think of the Power Platform not only as the way that you can just quickly create and quickly I would say make, I don't like the word develop for that, but at the end, make solutions and migrate and modernize solutions in a security compliant with the governance and the management capabilities that that we have in the platform as well. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Nikhil. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions on the chat. So feel free to put them there. Thank you.
Nikhil, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Ricardo. Thanks, Rishi. So, till now, we saw that why modernization is essential and Power Platform as a way to solve that puzzle. Now we jump on to see how we can solve the modernization problem and how Yash, as an organization, does it. So, if we look at your screen, I think we described like 4 strategies, and these are mostly determined, the choice of it is determined based on what is the problem that we're trying to solve, what are the systems we are trying to modernize, what is the technical complexity. And based on that decisions, that matrix, we specify and select the strategy to move on. So if I look at the first strategy, which is called retire and replace, the idea here is that I want to build something new. My current systems cost me more to maintain, and the need of the hour is to move to something new. So it would be a scenario where I would do a complete system overhaul. Imagine a scenario where you're using an Access database and there's a lot of data loss issues that happen. The better solution in that case to move to a Power Platform based solution with the Dataverse as a backend database to look at. Strategy two is a strategy where basically you have a solid backend system in place, but your user experience is poor. Maybe the users of it are not on a mobile app and they want to be on a mobile app. How do we get into it? So with Power Platform, I think through Power Apps, we can build some intuitive user experiences apps that can be extended to mobiles and uh, uh, better UIs. The third strategy around integrate and orchestrate is basically when we're talking about two disparate systems which do not talk to each other, and maybe the cost of developing an interface between the two is more high in terms of money as well as time efficiency. So what do? We can build an integration layer using Power Automate, which connects these two systems and solve that problem. Strategy four, basically, it is around not fixing one problem, it is designing the entire experience. So think of it as a scenario where you have a Lotus Notes system at your place and there are multiple databases. How do I solve that problem? Can I do entire migration and transformation to a cloud native platform? The answer is yes in this scenario. And so basically, this would be a scenario where I would taking my entire Lotus Notes solutions apps to entire cloud native solution. So my whole user experience, my apps, everything goes to a cloud-based solution. So the intent here is to say that depending on the business impact, the technical complexity, we change into a different strategy and we choose the relevant systems to solve our problem. Rishi, can we move to moving on to the next? I think this is the Yash framework. This has been repeated with multiple customer implementations, and I think we have reached to a perfect recipe where we have a method to solving a modernization and a migration problem. So it starts with basically doing a complete assessment of your landscape where we analyze every application, every database, every workflow. There's a business value mapping exercise which determines the priority, the criticalness of applications. There's an infrastructure review of your of your IT landscape, and there are stakeholder interview to determine how they use it and what is the frequency of the usage. From there, we move on to our planning stage. The planning stage, the input for the planning stage is your assessment stage. And based on that assessment, we define what are the target architecture of your applications going to be, how we're going to build a detailed roadmap with timelines, which are the candidates to be prioritized in the journey for migration. And based on that, we do our budgeting, a resource planning, and a plan for execution. The third step is where the execution happens. We do refactor, redevelop apps, we create environments, we do data migration strategies, system testing, integration testing, security, role-based access. All those come into the execution state. This is where the majority of the activity happens. Okay. Phase four, again, it's a deployment strategy phase where we start with maybe releasing some of the automations or the apps with a pilot set of users, and based on that, I think we do a performance validation, we do a communication plan to roll out the next set of users. In turn, the strategy is to start with a small set of users and gradually release it to cover the entire set of users. From there, it starts with the adoption layer, where the idea is to develop robust change management processes, continuous monitoring over the apps and the automations that we've developed, feedback loops with the user. And a continuous improvement cycle begins where there are apps being monitored for performances and improvements along with the business stakeholders. All right.
All right.
All right. So I will jump to Plant Designer and something that is released by Microsoft and which Ricardo also talked about highly. So this is basically a place where I can put my natural language instructions on how to build and what app to build, what do I need in an app, just in plain simple natural language, and I'll show in a demo how we do it. And it has basically 4 agents which do their part from requirement analysis to process modeling to data modeling, and then final creation of a solution which I can take and scale it up for my business needs. Uh, I'll start with a demo, but I'll and cover the problem statement that first we are going to showcase today. So basically, the use case that we're going to show today is in an organization, there are regular requests for creation of non-disclosure agreements, some sales NDAs, business plan NDAs, and people send the request to their relevant teams, which takes days and hours to complete those requests. These requests are logged manually over systems, and then the turnover time is high. So how do we automate this process, a manual process which takes time, which delays the external processes a lot, and how do we reduce the errors and risks associated with that process? So with that, I'll share my screen. Okay, all right. So, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So this is the Power Apps portal, and what you see right now is a plan designer window. I have just put up a problem statement that I want to build an automation where user requests for contract creation through email. I want an app to view it, and there should be a bot which answers users' questions regarding the documents and creates it. So let's see if I click here, what happens. So here the plan designer AI engine starts working. At the first step, this is the requirements agent that works, and it starts drafting the requirements. What are the functionalities as a user would do, what a bot user would do. And basically, if you read through it, it says allowed to do user to create a contract through email, view contracts in the app, receive notifications. Same for the bot, that users can start conversation, provide details regarding the documents, and receive confirmation. If I want to make changes to it, I can make changes to it. If not, I can just click on looks good and it moves ahead. The next step is it's the process agent, which defines these processes end to end on a functional level as to what each process would do. And if we click on any of these, describes the flow. So let me just do it. So basically, it gives a picture of how uh, the action in the system would start, where the user requests the contract creation through email, system extracts the details from the email, and business user system starts processing the contract document based on the details. So this gives you the entire picture of how the system would be designed, how the components would be broken in a bot, in the flow. And again, it gives me an option to edit based on my preferences, or I can move ahead with the next step. I click looks good. Then it starts working with the uh, data side of the things, where based on the requirements, based on the process model, it starts creating the underlying data model, and it suggests that it would need 4 tables to store the relevant information. Again, it gives you the ability to configure the tables, configure the structure of the columns and everything. And once I click here, it will tell me what are the components it would build. So it says it will build a flow to request the contracts. It would build a Canvas app. It would build an agent. And once I click good, it will start working on the creation of it. Okay. I can save the plan for future use. And here it shows me everything that it'll do. If I click on plus, it would start creating those agents and the components. Now I'll just show through a process how this works in real. So, so here is my email that I've kept ready, which is requesting for a contract creation. And so when I click on this email, it goes send, and there would be a flow which would be waiting for this email and to trigger to generate the contract. So this is the flow, and we'll just wait a couple of seconds for it to get triggered and start working on the request. I would like to show you one of the things here. So this is the Power App that we built for the assistant, and I'll just click on the NDA information page. Here we would see all the NDAs that are going to be created. So yeah, here you see the flow is running. And if I just go to my Dataverse, here it shows the latest NDA that's which began right now, NDA 1140, that is in creation state. I can go here, and in my app, I will also start seeing this. See, and it says in a progress state, this is getting created. As soon as this is created, it would land, there would then be an email which would land in my inbox. See, this is the request that I did, and it says DocuSign process for e-sign is initiated. If I click on it, it would take me to the relevant document over the DocuSign. I could do my signature here. Date here and finish. I'll click no sign. I don't want emails. I'll just click on no thanks. So in short, we saw a process which was manual, people requesting the contracts and getting these things done manually, which we automated just on a click send of an email, and the process completes with the document creation in your inbox. I would also like to show you this process done through a Copilot based agent. So okay, so we created a bot that was published in Teams. And if you go to this, it will show the published apps. Here is my contract assistant. So I add it here and I start the discussion saying hello. So it gives me option what all I want to do. What I want to check if the customer is an NDA, get information about anyone, create a new one. If I click on create, so it'll ask me what is the name of the second party. It says Yash Technologies. It would look up for any matching organizations in the database, and it's found one. I click confirm, and it found existing 2, 3 NDAs in the database. And it says like if I want to use this or I want to create new, I can say I want to create a new one. So it gives me a choice of the documents it has. I'll click on one of these, and it'll ask me some other question. Once I submit, it'll ask for confirmation. I hit proceed. And this is the part where again it would initiate the flow. It says that agreement contract ID 1141 would be generated for this. And it says whether I want to send it to Nikhil for signature. I can click yes. And this would again come to me, my email. And this Again, if I search in the app, this shows up in the email as to requested, who requested it, and the details of it. It would follow again the same cycle where an email would land in my should be landing in my inbox with the document for signature, and we could complete the remaining process. The bot would get the complete updated status back. In the interest of the time, I would move ahead.
So Nikhil, you can bring that
Yeah.
the scan. No, not yeah, next one. So yeah, so we will be offering a free assessment offer wherein we can help organizations to do a free assessment on their portfolio, and that's just like if you can scan this barcode, you will get a form. You can fill in that form, and then we'll reach out to you in case if there are any questions. You can even reach out to that one Microsoft@yash.com. Just email us, and we will follow up on that.